Is it time for me to talk now? Oh, it is time for me to talk now. The clock on the wall says, time for Paul to talk.
Can I talk real quick?
Sure, go for it.
Okay. Well, first I'm going to introduce myself. I am Jared Markle, the digital mastermind of Student of the Gun. And I wanted to let Dad know that every single week we get messages from the grad program members every single Friday that they say, this is the best episode ever. So how can there be more than one best episode ever?
I don't know. Do they just keep getting better?
You remember
did that happen today?
Yeah, it happened. I got
from Friday.
Yeah, Friday. Yeah, I got a bunch of emails that were saying this.
From the Friday show, the Rule by Rats.
Yep, and some people were posting in the Facebook page as well.
Oh, really?
Yeah, the exclusive. I think there was
the grad program
one or two that
page.
actually posted in that the grad program page. But I did get several emails that said, "Hey, today's episode, or what did it? Yeah, today they said today's episode was the best."
Friday's grad program.
Yeah, Fridays.
Yeah, Friday the 13th.
Reading the email.
You're lucky that you got to hear that because it was the Friday the 13th episode, and I didn't even actually when we posted that I wasn't even thinking that it was the Friday the 13th episode, but yet it was. So. Well, you're welcome. Is that what I'm supposed to say? You're welcome, or good, or you enjoy that? I guess you know what, Jared? We have a lot of new listeners. I noticed that based on the info and some messages from social media, the Instagram and Twitter and all that jazz. When I did Gun Talk. When I hosted Gun Talk for Tom, we picked up a bunch of new people that were not aware of us previously, or maybe were aware but never thought to listen. So hello and welcome if you're a Gun Talk listener and you just recently discovered us. When we did the Marine Corps birthday episode last week, some people found it just because it was titled Honoring the Marine Corps and listened to us on that day. So then we have new listeners there. And I actually got a couple of messages that said, hey, you talk about this grad program thing or whatever, listening louder or what, but I don't know how to do that. And it occurred to me that you and I, that we fall into this trap. And it's tough because I don't want to repeat myself. Believe it or not, I don't. And you're like, you're always repeating yourself. Well, there's repetition and there's reinforcement. But there are new people every day listening to Student of the Gun Radio. I know a lot of you guys are grad program members. A lot of you are veterans. A lot of you have been here for a long time. And you're like, I get it, I know. But you need to be kind to your fellow listeners because there are hundreds, if not thousands of people every month that tune in and they're new. So we need to understand, or we need to acknowledge that fact.
You know what's kind of cool? We recently hired on a coach to help us sort out our back end and help us push the products to you that...
Do you need your back end sorted out?
Yeah, my back end sorted out. The back end of Student of the Gun.
The part that you guys don't see.
There's so much stuff going on that we just need we need one more person to help us out. So we did that, and this coaching figure asked me a question. It was actually recently, very recently, and because I have a problem with pushing products to people, like especially the grad program. I don't like to repeat talking about it because I feel like I'm trying to be a salesman, and that's really not the purpose of me talking about it. And their simple question was, do you believe the product that you're pushing is going to help the end user? And I said, of course, otherwise I wouldn't be pushing it. I'm not a freaking used car salesman.
Yeah, we're not.
And they said, well, then
cars.
Why does it bother you when you tell people about it? I was like, well,
I guess it'd be kind of like promoting the Pocket Lifesaver.
Yeah, it's like that piece of equipment can help somebody save a life, their life, their family's life, somebody's life.
A good guy's life. You could save a good guy's life with that. So yeah, we shouldn't feel embarrassed about promoting it. And when it comes to something like the Pocket Lifesaver or the grad program or whatever, I don't want someone to not be involved in it because they weren't aware of it. It's one thing if they're aware of it and they're like, I get it, I know it's there, and the answer is no, I don't want it. Okay, cool. That's fine. You're an American or an Australian or whatever, or a tax slave living in merry old England. But the folks, they may not know it's there. And so what I want you to do real quick before we get into it, and today is the Warrior of the Week, and we're going to be taking a Warrior of the Week call very soon. But Jared, let's say that someone says, all right, Paul, Jared, you're yakking about this Ruled by Rats, or what was Friday's show. Did you put that on Student of the Gun Radio? Is it up there right now?
No, I didn't put it up there. Okay. Oh, yeah. Yeah, I did.
Okay,
yeah.
So by the time you're listening to this, you're like, okay, I'm curious. Go to studentofthegunradio.com. Squish all those words together, studentofthegunradio.com. And Jared, tell them what they can get, Johnny.
Well, studentofthegunradio.com, you can get, if you don't subscribe to the grad program, if you're just a casual listener, you can get access to the last 50 episodes. So if you want to go check the show notes, or if you want to re-listen to an episode, you can do that there at studentofthegunradio.com. And if you want to check out the grad program, you can also click on the Become a Member, and it tells you exactly what you get for your money. It comes with the free 30-day trial. So if you try it out for 30 days and you don't like it, you cancel, no strings attached. Other than you'll be removed from the Facebook account. I'll approve you when you sign up. All you have to do is let me know. Sign up for your 30-day free trial. Let me know, and I'll approve you into the Facebook account so you can talk to all the other grad program members and get peer affirmation. That's what that's for.
Not pure, but peer.
Yeah, peer affirmation. Yeah, good thing for these pop filters.
That's right.
And if you just do decide to sign up, and you should, I really think you should. There's a lot of benefits you get out of being a grad program member, and the most recent benefit was actually a ammunition discount, a discount on stocking up on ammo. So you guys can go check that out. StudentOfTheGunRadio.com.
Not going to want ammo.
Yeah, you can always use that.
Oh. Hey, while we're talking about grad program people or not or whatever, how are you listening to this show? You're like, well, I'm listening to it on my phone, Paul. All right, you listening to it on iTunes? You are? Do us a favor. We're approaching 300 reviews, ratings on iTunes. And I know there's more than 300 of you out there listening to us on iTunes.
Yeah, there's definitely a lot more.
I know that. We get the numbers. So why are there only 290 ratings?
We want it up to 400 by Friday.
Yeah, so
that would be great.
It'd be great if we could get up to 300 by tomorrow. There's no excuse other than you just are intellectually lazy and you don't feel like doing it. So get on there, do it. And it does matter. They do watch that. They pay the Apple, Google, Apple, Amazon, they all watch ratings. Before Amazon will internally promote a book, especially and I've been doing some research about the Kindle books, and yes, the Honey Badger book will be available in Kindle version. But before that Amazon will approve and internally promote a book, it has to have a minimum of 5 favorable ratings, 4 or 5-star ratings. Before they will
5-star ratings.
Yeah, 5-star.
Not 5 individual ratings.
No, yeah, 5 individual. They have to. Your book has to have been rated by 5 verified purchasers.
Oh, okay.
Because you know how Amazon says this rating was a verified purchaser. It has to have a minimum of 5 favorable ratings before they will internally promote it to other customers. Yeah. Before they'll say, hey, if you read this, you might be interested in this and this and this.
That's a good model to have.
Well, it is a good model to have. And so if you did buy the Faith and the Patriot book, or you bought the Patriot Fire Team book, or what have you, we would appreciate if you would go over to Amazon, or when you go to Amazon the next time, give us a rating. Take the time. We've sold many, many books, and it's not reflected by the ratings. So I know I'm begging for ratings, whatever. Just do it.
It's actually, you're really asking them to help their peers.
Exactly. Well, like I said, if you believe in the product, if you're like us, you say, well, how come you keep asking me to leave a rating? Well, did you enjoy the product? Did you enjoy the book? Do you think it's valuable? Do you think other people should read it?
Yeah, I would say we base our future products off of the ratings that we get from the current ones. If we don't get good ratings on a product, then I don't know why we wouldn't. There are no products that we have that have bad ratings. If we don't get a substantial amount of good ratings, then we won't do anything else in that category.
And every once in a while, somebody will get a little butthurt. But you know who? The only people that get butthurt, it's ironic about that whole thing. People who pay for our products never complain about them. If you notice that, the only time we ever get negative feedback or complaints is from people that are getting it for free.
Yeah.
I'm sorry that you didn't like the free entertainment that you were given.
Yeah. That's funny. Yeah, that's true now that I think about it.
Yeah, think about it. Yeah. Every once in a while we'll get some hack or douche nozzle will jump in on one of the public forums and are like, I don't like them. They hurt my feelings. They're misogynistic and xenophobic. And it's like, hey, if you use either one of those words ever in a normal conversation, you're a douche and you need to stay away from me anyway. You're fired. You don't get to listen to the show. All right, it is Monday. Welcome to Monday. And I'm here to help make your week a little bit brighter. So we're going to talk about SWAT Fuel's Warrior of the Week. How do you become a Warrior of the Week? Well, it's simple. You call 682-207-7684. And if you've got the mobile app on your phone, it's ridiculously easy. You just open the mobile app, and there's a little phone icon that says Contact Us. You tap it with your little finger, and then it says Warrior of the Week, and you tap that, and bam, you leave your well-rehearsed question. And you could be the Warrior of the Week. And if you become the Warrior of the Week, if we choose your question because we think that not only you but other people in the audience will benefit from the answer, then you're going to get something cool. And Jared's going to tell you what that is and what you do to claim it.
You will get a free bottle of SWAT Fuel 9mm plus P, which I had to use today because it's going to be a long week and I am already tired. So there's that. And if you want to claim your prize, if you don't want to claim your prize, that's fine. You still have access to it. And I'm going to tell you how to get it. You want to know? Okay, you want to know.
Sure, please tell me. Don't keep it a secret.
No? Okay. Email Alex, ALEX, @studentofthegun.com. Send her your name, your mailing address, your phone number, and include your email typed into the body so she can just forward it on to who it needs to be sent to.
At SWAT Fuel, and then we'll give you your free bottle of 9mm plus P.
Hi, this is Lou from Pennsylvania. As a civilian and law enforcement firearms instructor, where, other than Student of the Gun, can I find reputable information that is accurate, current, and relevant? My goal is to never pass along bad information, but we know all too well that the Internet is full of variable degrees of misinformation. Thank you.
Lou, that is an excellent question, and I am glad to answer it. Step number one, the more experience you have, the better able you will be to judge what is fact and what is bull crap. Unfortunately, people ask me this all the time. They're like, well, how do I know? How am I going to know if my firearms instructor, the one I choose, or the school, or I go to the local indoor shooting range, and they tell me, oh, hey, we got guys that can teach you here. And I say, okay, that would be fun. How do I know if that guy is, full of crap, or if he's good, or if he's excellent, or what have you? And sadly, the fact of the matter is you're not going to know. If you're brand new, if you're a newbie, you're not going to know until you get into it. You're like, oh, man, but I don't. I want it to be perfect and good the first time. Well, there are a few ways. Number one, you need to vet the instructors or the information or the person who's giving you that information. What is their background? Jared, how long has it been since we did the Who is Paul Markle YouTube video?
It's been a long time.
It's probably been going on 3 years, I would say.
You think so?
I would say at least.
Wow.
Because it would occur to me, I've been writing for the various gun journals and law enforcement journals and outdoor sports journals. I've written for pretty much every publisher in the United States over the last 20 to 25 years or so. And when I got into doing Student of the Gun television, I kind of assumed, like, well, I'm not really a new name in the industry. I've been in the industry for a long time. So I fell into the trap of assuming, which I shouldn't have done, that the audience, the people that are watching the television show and what have you, or discovering our YouTube videos or wherever it is you discover our video material, that they were already familiar with me. And the fact of the matter is I couldn't have been more wrong. Most of the people that were watching didn't know. They hadn't been reading my articles for the last 20 years or so, hadn't read any of the books I'd previously done. And so I did a Who the Hell Was Paul Markel and Why Should You Listen to Him? And what I'll tell you is when you're considering a source for advice, consider has the person actually carried a gun for a living? And we're talking about firearms-related stuff, obviously not fixing cars or washing machines or whatever, but gun-related stuff. Does this person carry a gun for a living? And when I mean a living, have they ever been paid to carry a gun? Now, when they're not working, do they still carry a gun? There are a lot of people that carry a gun on the job and then lock it up and put it away when they're not working. It just dumbfounds me that there are police officers in America that will be out in public without a gun on their body. But I've run into them. I've seen them. I've encountered them. I've read stories about, off-duty police officer beaten, kicked, stomped, robbed, stabbed, whatever. And I'm like, what? How does that happen? I don't know. I don't get it. I know, and I'm not going to name names, but I know that there are some people in the community that claim to be tactical firearms instructors but don't carry guns on a regular basis. Because it's difficult. So right there, if somebody's teaching you, telling you you need to carry a gun to save your own life, and then they turn around and don't, like, how serious are you about this? Or are we just playing a game here? Have they ever been published? And when I say published, I mean a book. Now today, it's tough. The whole book thing is tough because right now today it's not as difficult to get a book published as it used to be. And this all goes into the death of the editor. The editor used to vet people, and you weren't going to get advice from people. The majority of the time, you wouldn't get advice unless they had been vetted. It's very, very difficult. What you're going to have to do, and I can tell you this, you need to go back to the sources, the people that have been around for a long time, the people like Ken Hackathorn. If you can access Ken Hackathorn, if you have Ken he's older now and he doesn't want to play this game every single day, so he just teaches when he feels like it. So John Farnham, same way. John Farnham is another one who is one of the old school guys, I guess you could say. Clint Smith kind of falls into that category of old school. Clint's a very old hardcore guy. About 20 to 30 years ago, I guess probably 30 plus years ago now, Gunsight, the Gunsight Academy in Arizona, was essentially the instructor mill for the United States as far as handgun instructors. There were innumerable instructors who started out at Gunsight. They learned, they made their bones, I guess you could say, teaching at Gunsight, and then they went off on their own. And opened their own schools. And a lot of the people that I've mentioned fall into that category. Does the person who's teaching you or giving you advice, do they make their living doing that, or do they just do it as a hobby? You're like, well, what do you mean hobby? Well, if a guy teaches teaches 2 students once every couple of months, they're not making their living at it. They're doing it as a hobby. And hobbies are fun, and I like hobbies, and you like hobbies. But the fact of the matter is, are you going to go get your car fixed by somebody that fixes cars every day, every week? Or are you going to go get your car fixed by a guy that every once in a while tinkers on cars, like every few months? Well, you could pay the guy who tinkers every once in a while because he's cheaper, but who do you really have faith in? Do you want to go to a doctor, a surgeon that does surgery on a regular basis, or just does surgery occasionally? I want the guy who's pretty sharp. I want the guy who's spot on. How often does the person who's giving you advice actually train? Now, I don't mean give training. I mean attend training as a student. Anyone who is a professional anything should be participating constantly in continued education. Law enforcement officers do it. Doctors are probably doctors and medical personnel, doctors, nurses, anybody who works, with patients. They're constantly in continued education training, whether it's official training, or whether it's through a college or what have you. But they're continuously in training. The best instructors in the United States of America, when it comes to firearms instructors, are people who actually go and attend training as students, not as instructors, but students. And I only am aware personally of a few who do that. Sadly, most guys, the moment they get that piece of paper on their wall that says, I'm an instructor, they take an NRA class and they become an instructor, they stop learning. They figure, well, I don't have to learn anymore. I have that paper on my wall and it says I'm an instructor. So now that I'm an instructor, I don't have to learn. And it's not really the case. So I really wish I could give you a hard and fast 1, 2, 3, ABC answer. 2 + 2 is 4, that kind of a thing. What I will tell you is the more experience you get, the better off you are. Number 2, immerse your brain in old school literature. Like read Sun Tzu, The Art of War, and read I'm going to pick it up right now, read the Stephen F. Kaufman edition. Read The Book of Five Rings by Miyamoto Musashi. Read All in Fighting by W.E. Fairbairn. Read Kill or Get Killed by Rex Applegate. Read The Principles of Personal Defense by Jeff Cooper. Read those books, and all of those that I mentioned are classics. Read those books. Read Dave Spaulding's book, Handgun Combatives. Read Dave Spaulding's Handgun Combatives book. And once you've read those books, every one of those books I highly recommend. And once you've read those, you have a little bit more basis for comparison. So I hope that answered your question, and congratulations for being the SWAT Fuel Warrior of the Week. All right, before we jump into the next subject, let's go ahead and pay a few bills. Thank you to Century Arms, centuryarms.com. Thank you for being the sponsor of the Student of the Gun mobile app, and obviously a sponsor of Student of the Gun Radio as well. If you haven't checked out their website lately, you really need to do that. Go to centuryarms.com. And once you buy yourself a Century Arms AK or whatever, you can Duracoat that sucker. Not that they're ugly. And what's kind of messed up is I felt a little bad about Duracoating the wood on the C39 RPK, because the wood actually was nice looking wood. I mean, it was a good color. It wasn't cheap or crappy, but I Duracoated it anyway because that's what I'm all about. But you can Duracoat anything you want, Duracoat, because life's too short to have an ugly gun. Exactly. Can technology. Oh, don't forget, use, what's the SWAT Fuel promo code, Jared, so they can save some money?
SOTG2015. Go to SWATfuelstore.com. Pick what you want. He's got a book there for sale, as well as the actual supplements. I recommend getting the 40 cal as a daily multivitamin, and then picking up the 9mm plus P, obviously, to get you through the day. If you want to focus on fat burning rather than energy, then get the 9mm. But use the promo code SOTG2015 when you check out to save money.
Okay, this next subject is one that you'd think that we would be done talking about it by now, but we're not. And so we're going to continue to talk about it. And it's ARs for home defense, or rifles for home defense, or what have you. And I from a personal standpoint, I kind of get it. I mean, I get why this question comes up, because a lot of people who are buying guns, they're buying black rifles and so forth. And the fact is 20 years ago, relatively few Americans had centerfire .223 rifles that they kept at home for self-defense. And you say, well, relatively, I had one 20 years ago. Yeah, I know you did, because you're a gun guy. But the fact of the matter is, the black rifle market 20 to 25 years ago was pretty small, especially 20 years ago, because 20 years ago we were in the midst of the Clinton era, the crime bill, the gun ban. and they made it really difficult to own a legitimate rifle. And so people didn't even bother with it. I mean, some people did. You had your pre-ban and post-ban and all this nonsense. But the fact of the matter is the black rifle market really did not open up and explode until about 2005, 2006. It opened up then, and after that, well, you know, we had the great usurper came into office in 2008, and boom, explosion. Everybody in America ran out and bought black rifles or multiple black rifles. And people that never owned a rifle before in their life felt that they needed to go out and buy some type of stoner-based AR-15 rifle, or they went the opposite direction and they bought some type of an AK, such as from our friends at Century. So now we have tens, if not hundreds, if not millions of Americans, I was going to say hundreds of thousands, or millions of Americans who own black rifles, who have centerfire self-loading rifles. All right, great. And the question then becomes, well, should I use my AR or my rifle for home defense, or is it better for, like, I don't know, country defense or what have you? And the article I have here, the reason I've got it is because one of our Gun District fans posted this on our Gun District wall. If you guys are not following Gun District, it's the 100% Second Amendment friendly social media, gundistrict.com. So if you hate Facebook, you hate social media, but you want to communicate with other gun people, okay, great. Go to gundistrict.com. And while you're there, follow Student of the Gun. But anyway, the title of this, and it's from thestreetstandards.wordpress.com. Long guns for home defense, space, not such a hot idea. And it's actually, the article's written by a friend of mine, a man named Ralph Morose, and it was posted on November 9th, 2015. I will begin. A lot of people with an internet pulpit recommend long guns as ideal for home defense. Well, that just goes to prove that, as we used to say in the pre-internet days, don't believe everything you read. Today, I suppose it would be, don't believe everything you hear from YouTube personalities with the requisite tactical beards or goatees. Okay, I won't take any offense at that, I promise. The primary home defense firearm should be a handgun. Not that there's not a place for something like a shotgun or a carbine in home defense. I really like Masada Ayub's notion that the place for a long gun is in a fixed location, such as a safe room or a bedroom. He compares it to fixed artillery in the Army, yada, yada, yada. Why? Okay, so Ralph goes in and he says, have you ever tried to move around at speed, tactically, your house with a long gun? Sure, there are some goofball, unsatisfactory ways you can theoretically do so, but they're just that. Now, here's the problem with the thinking here, and I understand the thinking. The thinking here is that you're going to use the gun while you're clearing the house. You're going to use the gun while you're opening doors and turning on lights and maneuvering in hallways or tight areas and so forth. And that a long gun would be too cumbersome to do this and that and the other thing. Okay. Well, but what hasn't been addressed? We talk about, holding on to a child, opening a door, doing all these things with a gun in your hand. And that's why a handgun is superior. This is where people will say, oh, have you ever tried to turn on a light switch with a rifle in your hand?
Yeah.
Actually,
I have.
Yes. But and that's why rifles with pistol grips are actually superior to those without, because the way the human body works. I actually had a guy tell me years ago. He was an old Army guy, and he was a big fan of the M14. And he's like, I think that pistol grip is just some kind of, it's like a fashion thing, and it's not really practical. And I was like, and I handed him a long gun, and I said, now hold on to that and point it with just your strong hand. And then I handed him, we had CAR 15s at the time. There used to be these things from Colt called CAR 15s. You old guys remember those. I handed him a CAR 15, and I said, now do the same thing. And he said, yeah, exactly. the human animal has a greater control like this than this, and I'm making hand gestures on the radio, so it doesn't really do you any good. Make your own hand gestures in the privacy of your own home. But my point is this. So we're talking a lot about maneuverability, and we're talking about lights and doors and doorknobs and in and out of hallways and so forth with the gun. And, you know, that they're heavy and unwieldy and so on and so forth. Now, but what have we not talked about, or what hasn't been mentioned? And when this article here by Ralph is just one of many that have been written about you should use a handgun, not a rifle, because of the convenience factor. Let's just call it the convenience factor. Okay, great, convenience factor. What's missing? Jared's giving you know what I'm.
I know
where I'm going.
I'm pretty
right?
sure I know where you're going with this. Stuff going through stuff.
Well, no. I'm not talking about over. We're not even going to deal with the over penetration thing. I don't think Ralph even
no,
deals
it's not
with
in
it.
there.
It's not in there. Yeah, people get into the over penetration boogeyman, which is horse crap.
Yeah.
Because any firearm that you're holding in your hand is going to go through an interior wall of your house. I don't care if it's a .22. It's going to go through an interior wall. Or what are you planning to do with that tool? Why are you holding that tool in your hand? Is it a good luck charm? Is it like a security blanket? Is it your blankie? Does it make you feel good? And the whole reason, a lot of people carry guns because it makes them feel good. Why are you carrying that gun? What do you mean? Seriously, why do you have that tool in your hand? Why aren't you holding something else? Why aren't you clearing your house with a fire extinguisher? Why aren't you clearing your house instead with just a flashlight or a can of wasp spray? Or, I don't know, with your favorite Damn It doll. Why are you holding that object? What's it there for? It's there to stop a deadly threat. All the other stuff aside, all the convenience factor, all of the maneuverability, all the light switches, all the doorknobs, all of this, all of that, why are you holding that object? Well, you should be holding that object because for whatever reason, you either woke up or you heard the noise or whatever, and you got the shot up the back of your spine, and you felt like you may have to fight for your life very soon. You realize, oh crap, I'm in my house, home defense. I'm not talking about being out on the street, going to the grocery store. We're talking about in your castle. And you, for whatever reason, some stimulus has occurred to make you believe that you may have to fight to save your life. Or, in the family situation, you may have to fight to save the lives of your family. And you could be a man or a woman, doesn't matter. So when it comes down to it, then you need to ask yourself, what is the best fighting tool? Which tool is more likely to be effective in a deadly force encounter? A handgun or a rifle? We're going to put the shotgun aside for right now, okay? Handgun or a rifle, because primarily I think a lot of the poo-poo that goes on is they're poo-pooing the use of the modern AR-15 in whatever configuration you happen to have it in. Because it's overkill, or it makes you look like you're crazy, or whatever. First of all, I'm not even going to address that nonsense, because if you're afraid of being judged, how about you make your decisions based on practicality? So, you have, let's say, if you're a man listening to me, and you have a wife or a girlfriend or a beloved female person, and you're pushing 180, 200, 250 pounds, whatever. You feel like you're large and you're in charge and you're a good shot and all that, right? You do, you feel like that. Okay, rock on. But you're not always going to be there. Are there going to be times when you're not in the house? Well, yeah. Okay. So there's going to be times when you're not in the house. So let's say your wife, who is like a whole 138 pounds or 120 pounds or 160 pounds. I don't care. Maybe you get a good-sized wife. The fact of the matter is your wife's probably not as large, probably not as strong, probably not as physically fit, and I know some of you women out there are real super physically fit and you're in a CrossFit. Don't write me freaking letters. Listen up. What would you rather have her have in her paws when 3 crackhead scumbag pieces of human filth are breaking through the door? What would you rather she have her hands wrapped around? A 38 Smith & Wesson or a 38 Special with 6 shots that she can use to maneuver in and around hallways and open doors and flips light switches and hold the kids' hands? Or would you rather that she had your retractable stock AR-15 with a 28-round magazine in it? I know they hold 30, but you'd put 28 in it because that's what you were taught. What would you rather have her have in her hand? Or, take the 38 away. Would you rather her have a Glock 17 in her hand or a black rifle? When it's time to make noise and get serious, which one is the best fight stopper? Which one, and I didn't say stopping power, I said fight stopper. Which one is she going to be able to use to stop 3 crackheads from smashing in the door, raping her, and killing your children? The pistol or the rifle? What do you think? What do you think, Jared? Jared, he didn't expect me to call on him.
I just moved the microphone.
That's why I called on you.
Yeah, I don't know. What was the question? Now I forget because I moved the microphone.
Boxers or briefs?
Neither.
No. What's better? And it was a rhetorical question. Here's the deal. No, I said about, the person. Well, unless you're ballistically ignorant, or you live in some type of fairy tale land, you understand that a rifle is a superior fighting instrument to a handgun. I don't care what the handgun is. I don't care if it's a Smith & Wesson Model 29. An AR-15 is a superior fighting tool to the Smith & Wesson Model 29. Go cry in the corner if that hurts your feelings. I'm sorry. But it's a fact. Or an AK-47. Or an AK variant or an AKM, or I don't care what you want to call that either. The Kalashnikov. 1, 2, 3 a-holes are smashing in your front door, and you are going to hand your wife either an AR or you're going to hand her a pistol. Which one is she going to be able to use to effectively stop those monsters? Well, the answer is the rifle. And all the other jazz and all the other stuff that we talk about, we talk about convenience and comfort and so forth. You know what's comforting? Wrapping 2 hands around a rifle and being behind that rifle when there are bad people out in front of you. Bad people are afraid of rifles. Jared, I guess it's time. It's time for me to write that freaking article. We did a segment on Student Gun TV, and you know what, Jared? I think it was season 3. So it's been going on 3 years now. That's why people probably aren't familiar with it. About the rifle is the best fighting tool. It's the king of home defense.
Yeah. We did the video.
Yeah, we did the video. We have the
you didn't do an article on that?
I did, but there's another one I've got brewing around in my mind. But it's about the Katrina and so forth. But here's the fact of the matter. When it's time to choose a self-defense gun, am I telling you that not to have a handgun in the house? No, I have a loaded handgun that's usually within reach of me. But if I am cognizant enough to realize that I need to defend myself, I will grab a long gun in my house. And yes, I can maneuver around my house with a long gun. Brothers and sisters, it's going to be loud. It's going to be loud. Get a Century C39 Micro. Jared, do you think you can maneuver in and around your hallways, in and out of doorways and stuff around, cut the pie in a hallway with a C39 Micro?
Definitely. And you know what? is awesome.
Oh, yeah.
When your adrenaline dumps, you have auditory exclusion, so you can't hear anyway.
Well, yeah, but it's still gonna be. It'll be like throwing concussion grenades
Yeah.
out in front of you.
Yeah.
Or well, you know how to get around that. You put a freaking barking spider on the front of that sucker.
Yeah.
Put a barking spider. If you have one of these SIG pistols with the braces on it, if you got a 7.5 inch, we've already talked about this. If you got a 7.5 inch AR and you don't have some type of muzzle device on that to quiet it down, or you are a butthead, folks.
Or at least stop the concussion.
Yeah,
Like the barking spider will stop the concussion.
The concussion,
pretty
yeah. Well, it pushes the sound away from you as opposed to towards you.
Yeah.
Which is an important thing, especially in a hallway. I've done room clearing. I did building clearing with an H&K 91 with a 308. That was like I did the house clearing course, and so we went through live fire, and it was like throwing concussion grenades into every room.
Yeah, it was funny when we were at CSAT. I was doing the filming, and everybody had a 223 except for one person. And I was violently reminded who that person was when I was filming right next to him.
In the house
in
clearing
the house
part?
clearing, yeah. Kaboom! I was like, oh, that was not a 223. That was definitely a bigger one.
Yeah. Now, 223 is very abusive, but
Comparatively, it's very mild.
So when it comes down to what are you going to use to protect your life and your home and your wife and your family and so forth, get a gun. Number one, get a gun. And B, if you're afraid to use a rifle because of cosmetics or because of, because I don't know what, it's not convenient. Folks, people, if you don't know how to use a rifle in an urban environment or, in MOUT, military operations and urban terrain, you need training is what you need. You actually need training. What I prefer is the best fight stopper. I'll go ahead and learn to deal with the inconveniences of the light switches and so forth. If I have the most powerful fight stopper, other than a Barrett 50 cal or something, in my hand, I'll deal with that. I'd rather have, if I had an unknown number of assailants, home invaders breaking into my house, and it happens every day in America. Sadly, I'm sad to say that we need to exterminate more of these vermin and monsters in our country if we're going to take it back and reestablish some form of sanity. And the best way to exterminate a verminous piece of human filth, I'm going to go ahead and say, is with a rifle. You can debate me on that if you feel like it. If you feel like wasting the oxygen to debate me, because I'm right, and should be the next book. Is it 10 ways, 12 ways? How many ways? I don't know.
10.
Stop yawning over there, you freak.
10 ways.
All right, that brings us right up to the end of Student of the Gun Radio. Before I let you go, though, I want to make sure that I took care of all my business, and I didn't take care of all the business yet. So don't play me out yet, Johnny, because Brownells at Brownells.com stocks Frog Lube, and they stock Duracoat, and they have emergency and survival skills or gear, emergency and survival gear. I don't know if they have Velocity triggers yet or SWAT fuel yet. If you want to order it from them, you might want to tell them that that's what you'd like. Velocity triggers is
superior quality and value.
Superior quality and value from Velocity triggers.
I almost said designed for precision, but that's the old one.
Yeah, superior quality and value, velocitytriggers.com. And, of course, Crossbreed Holsters. Don't want to forget those guys. All right, Crossbreed Holsters, check them out at crossbreedholsters.com. They got a brand new holster called Freedom Carry. You can adjust it for spleen carry or appendix carry or whatever kind of floats your boat there. Check those guys out. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we will be back tomorrow, I promise. And what's going to be? Oh, tomorrow, we're going to talk about a woman who used a knife, not a gun, but a knife to stop a rapist. And whether or not, well, I don't know. What are the sandwich makers going to say? All right, kids, remember, you're a beginner once, a student for life.